Hey, it's Dan the Real Estate Guy once again from the home office. Today's video is on tracking numbers, basically a market watch. There's lots of numbers involved in real estate, and I think I enjoy that part of the business. I like numbers. Numbers tell a story, and as long as you're tracking all the correct numbers, you can really use that to benefit yourself in your real estate business. So I thought it'd be good to run over some of the numbers that I track that you may be able to track in your market, and it will speak to you about what's going on in your marketplace. Remember in one of the videos I mentioned to you that you should probably keep a journal, right? Everything I teach you, remember, everything I teach you, I do. I'm not coming up with wild things for you to do that I don't do. I really think that all the things that I've done over the years and the systems I've developed and the things that I watch and what they mean is one of the reasons that I'm here today. It's one of the reasons I'm just an ordinary guy living a somewhat extraordinary life through real estate. All right, for 25 years now. Came out of the Air Force, and as you might know, aviators, they fly by the numbers. If you don't have the proper approach speed, you're in trouble, right? I was in C-130s. We drop objects on a target. If you drop that stuff at the wrong speed or the wrong altitude or the wrong heading, they're all numbers. If you do it wrong, whatever you're dropping that day is going to go to the wrong place. It's not going to go where you want it. All right, I think I enjoyed that part of the business there in air resupply. So in tracking numbers, I just like to, at the end of each month, it's good to let the month settle down a little bit. It's good to wait till the first, second, or third of a month. Today's the first. So these numbers, I'll probably have to update them in a couple of days. Some of the offices around town, their real estate offices, as they put in input into the computer for the multiple listing service, may take a day or two to clean up what closed the last day of the month. But I thought it would be good to just run over the numbers with you today on last month. Remember, one of the things I'm going to watch as an investor, someone who's trying to buy property, fix it up, and provide it to a marketplace, I need to know, how's my market doing? We can get in more detail and even find out what price ranges and things are best. But today I'm just looking at overall numbers, basically the overall health or condition of the market in my county. Basically the Sacramento County is where I'm looking here. It's a pretty good sized market. Today we have an active 8,442 listings. Now remember, I mentioned a journal, writing lots of business ideas down, but these markers are every time that I wrote the numbers down. So we can go back and compare. We can kind of see what's going on. That, for example, way back in 2008, there was active 7,249 properties on the market. Today there's 8,400. Not a big significant difference, right? Around 7,200 last time, 8,400 this time. 1,000. It's significant, but it's not dramatically higher or dramatically lower. What's changed, though, I find fascinating, if we look back that far, of the 8,442 listings today active on the market, I like to break it down to how many are short sales. Remember how I feel about short sales. In my area, very few get approved, but some are closing now and then. We're going to look at that. It's becoming more significant part of our market. Is it good for investors yet? Probably not. Probably not. I'm going to do a short sale update. I'm going to get a hold of a friend of mine that runs a short sale negotiating company. I'm going to find out from him, is Sacramento County getting better? I know that from his point of view, outside of Sacramento and other states even, seem to be more negotiable than my area. Maybe I can find out the most negotiable areas. Are there areas that will cater to investors from time to time to get some properties back in use? If I learn those things, I'll be reporting them to you. Watch for the short sale update video coming up in the next couple of days. All right, here we go. So right now, a full 54% of our active listings are short sale listings. Keep in mind, some realtors don't mark them correctly. There could be more. But right now, more than half of our listings are people trying to perform a short sale. That's tough because as far as I know, only 1 in 10 will get approved. It's pretty tough. How many of the 8,442 are REO listings? Right now they're keyed in at 1,325. Only 16% of our active listings. Look back. In 2008, January of 2008, the active listings represented 2,200 of 7,200, so it was a lot more. The short sales represented only 32%. So it's gone from 32% of our market up to 54% of our market. I think more interesting is the closed transactions. When I asked the computer just now, the last 30 days, how many closings? It was 1,490 closings. Back in January 08, so this would have been the numbers for the last month of 07 really, there were 1,714 closings. You know, not a big difference, around 1,500 now, around 1,700 then. Interesting. But here's the interesting part. How many of them were REO? Today's market, 38% of the closings were REO. Back then, 72% were bank-owned. 72%. So it's almost in half. Went from 72% down to 38%. All right? How about short sales? Back then, of the closings, only 10%. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, only 10%. Isn't that interesting? Only 10% were short sales. The reason I started to take it back, I saw a number of 82%. What that represents is the total. REOs, short sales combined, were 82% of my market back then. You know, now what are they? They're 38 and 27. So what is that? 63? They're now 63% of the market. They were 82% of the market. It's fascinating. As we move forward, all the people that purchase properties in say 07 and 8 and 9 and 10, remember we're in a mobile society. In the next 1, 2, 3 years as they sell, and our market prices perhaps haven't changed that much, you're going to see more people going on the market that may not have to be a short sale. If prices move up just a little bit, even people who bought on 100% financing might be able to sell without being a short sale. So if they get a job transfer, they get a divorce, whatever, more and more of our market will not be a short sale and will not be a bank-owned property. We'll go back towards more of a normal market where the bank-owned and short sales are an insignificant part of the market. Heck, sometimes we don't have any short sales. You know, I mean, that's interesting, isn't it? So these are numbers that I watch. The other thing I look at is pending sales. Right now, we have 2,464 pending sales. When I did these numbers way back when, 2,920 were pending. All right. Of the pending back then, 75% of them were REO. Today, 41% are REO. It's dropped. Back then, let's see, short sale. Let's try to find the short sales here. Short sale was only 14% of the market back then of the pending sales. Today, short sales represent, in the pending area, 27%. Oddly enough, the same as our closings. 27% of the closings in the last 30 days were short sales. 27% of the pending sales right now are short sales. So you can see a trend right there. Alrighty. Now, another interesting thing about pending sales versus closed. We have 2,464 pending. In the last 30 days, 1,490 closings. Significantly less of the pending sales close each month. There could be a lot of pending sales that have been pending for 3, 4, and 5 months. And it's because they're short sales trying to get approved. It's very common for those to drag out. Okay, very common. And in many cases, they just don't close. I would say far more don't close than close. All right, so that's kind of interesting. Let's go through this journal, though. Let's speed up a little bit. Let's go to another section. Let's move up a couple of markers. How's that? Why don't we go all the way up to the 4th month of 09. I took a look at a snapshot. I call this a snapshot of the market. We had active then 6,600. Remember today it's 8,400. So we had less product on the market. But interestingly enough, we had more closings. We had 1,895 closings, almost 1,900 closings versus today 1,490. You know, 1,500 versus 1,900, that's a pretty big difference. All right? When will I get nervous as an investor? When would I be nervous about the number of closings per month? Heck, remember in the 90s? It dropped all the way to 264 closings in 1 month. That was a little nerve-wracking. That forced me into buying units and creating cash flow with units. Remember, when you're a small company or an individual working in a big market or even a smaller market, you're such a small part of that market. You can turn on a dime. You're not a big company that needs to make a lot of big decisions and turn their boat really slow. We can one day look at our numbers and decide, you know what? We need to change our strategies. You know, back then we said, hey, we can buy the houses. They're just tough to sell. Why don't we create cash flow with duplexes, triplexes, 4-unit buildings, and bigger? And that's what got me into the large apartment complexes at some point. I sometimes wonder if I could have just bought and sold homes, would I have just bought and sold homes? Would I have ever ended up owning the large apartment complexes? I really consider owning the large apartment complexes as one of my biggest breaks in my business. You know, sure, it would have been great. I like to think I could have just kept buying and selling homes and maybe buying a few keepers now and then to create cash flow, but probably would not have provided the same lifestyle that I ended up with from the apartment complexes. Something to think about. All right, let's move forward a little bit more. Let's go all the way up. Let's go all the way up to, I've got one marker here that's on the 6th month, actually, yeah, the 6th month of 09. You know, and here we are today moving into the 9th month of 2010. All right, so a little more than a year ago, active 6,287 versus today 84, a little over 8,400. Closed was 1,864. So we ran for a period there, we closed 1,800, in some cases 2,000 per month. Should I be nervous it's gone from 1,800 to 1,500? Probably not. If it went to 1,000 closings a month, could I still be 1, 2, or 3 of those? That's really my goal. You know, doing 15 to 20 transactions at a time, I would expect 2 or 3, a good month maybe 4, closings per month. But certainly I should be 2 or 3. All right? Right now I have 5 active on the market. I have 5 more being prepared for the market. I just received notice that one of them is ready. I'll go tomorrow. We'll shoot our completion video at Swallow's Nest if you're watching the transactions. I did a first look video on that just I think a week ago. It was a light fixer, so the work's already done. We'll go on the market, we'll sell it, we'll close it out, we'll do a closeout video. You can learn from that transaction. That was a condo, real nice. All right, so we're always looking at the market. What if it got down to 500 closings per month? Would that be scary? Probably. But could I be 1 or 2 of those consistently by providing the best product at the best price? Probably. I think I could. All right? But I like that there's 1,000 closings or better per month. I'm not going to take a hard look at changing any strategies unless that drops below, say, 800. All right? I might have to look a little bit. I might have to think about units more at that point. But right now I'm doing a little bit of everything anyways. You know, you as an individual doing 1 or 2 deals here and there, some of you are going to do 4 per year. You know, you can look over your numbers, but you're not trying to be a big part of the market. You've got a lot of opportunity. If you focus on the bread and butter properties like we talked about in that video, you should be okay. You should be able to provide the best product at the best price. You just have 1. If there's only 300 or 400 closings in your area, you're just trying to be 1. All right? So good to do. Let's look back on that 6th month. The numbers are really for the previous 30 days, or actually they would have been for May. And then in the 5th month. In the 6th month I took a look. I waited to the 8th because again I like the data to settle down and be complete. Then I looked at it and I said, wow, 1,864 closings. Of that, 61% were REOs. Remember this morning looking at these, only 16%. Actually, that's of the active. 16% is active. Of the closed, 38% were REO. Versus just a year and a couple of months ago, that number was 61%. Short sales represented just 14% of the market of the closings, where today they're 27%, 14 up to 27. So these are the kinds of things that I track. Let's talk about a few others. You can also track, if you're working a lot of foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, you're working off the notices of default, notices of sale. For the county or counties, if you're working multiple counties, you want to watch that number. I remember in the 90s, we expected 50 NODs a day. Today it's much higher. But we expected there to be about 50 notices of default per work day, per business day, right? You can watch the number of notices of sale. How many notices of sale each day? Remember, when they have a notice of sale, they're planning to hold the sale 21 days later. Doesn't always happen. They postpone, cancel them, whatever. But you can watch that. It's another number that you can watch. When I run my comps, I'm constantly looking at average dollar per square foot for the like type product that I'm comping, right? And I comp so many properties that I kind of get a feel for each of our areas. You know, what does the south area go for? You know, a neighborhood that's built in the 60s, How much dollar per square foot? Probably $85 to $90 a square foot. How about in the Thomas area up by the Arco Arena where the Sacramento Kings play? What's that going for? Oh, about $100 to $110 a foot, depending on the product, what year it was built, and how big a lot. Out there they have some really small lot sizes, and they have a little bit more regular type lots, and that makes a big difference in value. So you learn these things a lot so that when you're presented an opportunity to buy something, you kind of automatically know about what it's worth. You also know, have they been coming down? Has it flattened out, or are they going up? I'm comping those same areas every day, every other day, certainly every week, and I'm watching these things. I'm always watching my numbers. It helps me with my business. I think it's critical to know your numbers, all right? How about the different price ranges? You can break this down further. When you see the number of closings, I could have asked the computer, okay, of the 1,590 closings, how many below 200,000, how many above 200,000, gives you a rough number. Or maybe I want to say, hey, how many between 100,000 and 250,000? By playing with the numbers that way, I might find out where is 50% of the buyers buying. Where are they buying? What price range? Because maybe I want to supply 50% of the demand, the market. That's where the demand is. Maybe I should focus on that. If I'm presented with more opportunities than I expected to buy, maybe I don't buy the big home that could take longer, ties up more money, more risk. Maybe I buy that one right in that bread and butter range. Depending on what I already have going on, I'm going to make my decision on what I buy. Which reminds me, remember, when you get better at this or you decide to specialize, you might widen your game a little bit. You can run all the numbers just for duplexes, for your whole area. How many active? How many sold? Are they bank owned? Are they short sales? I mean, what's going on there? If you want to supply that market, find out if people are buying, find out what they want, and find out, you know, the price ranges so you can buy it low enough to provide it to them. You can look further at gross rent multipliers. Look at all the sales. Well, look at their rents. Total the rents for 1 year. Divide that into the sales price. That's a gross rent multiplier. Are they selling for 10 times their gross rent per year? Or are they selling for 12 times their gross rent? You see? Numbers, numbers, numbers. You want to be all over that. All right? Let's see, what else? You got them all going on here. There's all kinds of numbers you can track. We've just touched on, I think, the primary ones. As you continue with your business, you're going to figure out what works for you. I like numbers. Get to know your numbers forwards, backwards, and sideways. Really know your numbers. It's going to really help your business over the long run. You are trying to become an expert. Do the homework from the earlier core training videos. There's numbers involved there too, but realize how important numbers are to you every day. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.